Welcome back to the PLO vlog. I'm Wayne. Thanks again for the recommendations. We are in for our now usual $400. Let's get into it. I get started by looking down at ace, queen, queen, 9, single suited to the ace in the hijack in a straddled pot. There's one limper to me, I limp, and we're actually going 7 ways, family pot here to a flop. Flop comes king 10-4 with 2 spades. When it checks to me, I go ahead and check, and it actually checks around, so we're going to a turn. Turn brings a deuce, which shouldn't really change much. Early position player bets 35. Next player to act pushes for about 130. And then the player to my right goes ahead and makes it 415. So looks like everyone's slow played. I'm getting out of the way obviously here. Here look down at queen jack 10-5, single suited to the queen in the big blind. When it limps to me, I go ahead and check my option, and we're going 6 ways to a flop. Flop comes queen 8-5 rainbow. When it checks to me, I go ahead and bet 15. Want to charge any kind of straight draws or top pair holdings, we get 1 caller, so we're going heads up to a turn. Turn brings a 3, which shouldn't really change anything. Obviously, if I was ahead on the flop, I should still be ahead. And I go ahead and bet 50, and he folds, so we take it down. Here I look down at ace king 4-2 double suited in the hijack. There's 1 limp. I go ahead and limp. The button limps. When it gets back to the small blind, he goes ahead and makes it 30. There's 1 caller. I go ahead and call, and the late position player calls. So we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes jack 3-2 with 2 clubs. When it checks to me, I'm thinking about betting, and I'm just figuring out the amount to bet. And I just to go ahead and pot it to 125. And the button is the only player that calls. So we're going heads up to a turn. Turn brings a 4, which, is not exactly the card I was looking for. But, it does improve my hand, of course, and does put me ahead now of some of his jack high rundown combos, with the flush draw. So I just decided to put him all in for his remaining 220. If I'm not ahead, then obviously I still have quite a bit of outs to win on the river. And he goes ahead and calls pretty quickly, so we're going heads up to a river. River brings a 7 of hearts, so not quite sure if I'm ahead, but I go ahead and turn over my hand, and he says I'm good. So we're scooping a pretty good sized pot here. So this hand was shortly after the previous hand, and I actually was in the middle of eating and didn't think this hand was going to really turn into much. I have ace 9, 8-8, single suited to the 9. We went to a flop of king 8-3, rainbow. Under the gun bet 15, I went ahead and called. Turn brought a queen, he went ahead and bet 50. I called to a river of a 4. I checked, and he ended up checking back. And he says 2 pair, I show my hand, and we're good. Here I look down at ace king 10-4 double suited in the hijack. There's 1 limp to me. I go ahead and make it 25. The button calls, one of the blinds calls, and the other player folds. We're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes queen 3-2 with 2 clubs. When it checks to me, I go ahead and bet 40, and only the button calls, so we're going heads up to a turn. Turn brings a jack of spades, and this is the same opponent that I just played against in the earlier hand where I had the 2 pair. And he's a pretty aggressive player. If I check to him, he's going to just put me on a flush draw, which, is not incorrect here, but obviously I have a million outs. So I go ahead and check, hoping that he bets so I can re-jam all in. And he does oblige with a bet of 160. I go ahead and push his remaining 200 in, and he pretty quickly calls. So we're going heads up to a river. River brings a 9 of spades. He turns over his hand and says straight. He's got queen jack 10-8. And obviously we're going to take this one down. So same player that I stacked earlier, I'm able to hit the river against him again, and we're off to a really good start here in the session. So after that huge combo draw hand, we go probably about 45 minutes without really getting much until we look down at king 9-7 single suited to the king in the small blind. There's an early position raised to 20, 2 callers to me. I go ahead and call, and the big blind calls, so we're going 5 ways to a flop. Flop comes ace 4-2 rainbow. I check, middle position player bets 50, and I fold. I wasn't involved in this hand, but I just recorded it because I thought it was interesting. Both players had aces with an 8-5 double suited, and player to my left ended up making a flush and scooping a $1,000 pot. So here I look down at king 9-8-7 double suited in the small blind. There's a middle position limp. Button goes ahead and makes it 20. I call, big blind calls, and the limper calls. So we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes ace 9-9 with 2 spades, and as opposed to doing my usual play, which is typically check here to the original raiser, I decide to lead out for 30, and only the big blind calls, so we're going heads up to a turn. Turn comes a 5 of hearts, giving me a straight draw along with my trips. I go ahead and continue to put pressure on his most likely holding, which is probably a flush draw, and I bet 75, and he quickly calls, so we're going heads up to a river. River brings a 10 of diamonds, which shouldn't really change much besides 10-9 now beating me, but he most likely has a flush draw that missed. If he has an ace, I want to try to bet small to maybe get a crying call from his 2 pair. So I go ahead and bet 50, but he quickly folds and we take it down. So I didn't play as many hands in this vlog, but I was fortunate enough to win the large ones that I did get involved in. I played probably about 45 minutes after that trip 9s hand and decided to rack up. What's up, guys? Wayne back here with you. So I just finished up, and continuing from last session, I definitely tried to keep the aggression level high. Started out kind of slow. I did win a small pot there with 2 pair. Then after that, got into the ace king 4-2 double suited hand. 4 ways to a flop, flopped enough flush draw and a pair and a straight draw. I ended up betting out, then turning 2 pair. We got it all in. I ended up holding against his most likely jack with a lower flush draw. Then won a small pot with a set. Probably missed a little value on that one. Then shortly after, had the ace king 10-4 double suited, ended up turning the world, a wrap, 2 flush draws and the lower straight draw, getting it all in and then hitting my flush on the river. And then went card dead for about an hour or so, didn't really play much. At the end there, I did win a little bit with the trips. That was another thing too, besides keeping the aggression level up, I definitely wanted to try leading out when I flop a hand, as opposed to most people, when they call a raise out of position, they pretty much always check to the original raiser. A lot of times slow playing in PLO, you're just gonna get, you're gonna get outdrawn or you're gonna lose value. So I find a lot of times it's better just to lead with your hands, and it looks like there I probably got some pretty good value against his most likely holding, which was a flush draw. So all in all, I think I played pretty well. I was in for 400, out for 1405, so profit of 1005. If you guys enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe button. If your viewing experience could have been better, please let me know how down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.